All right, so let's get cooking with this app, shall we? We are going to start a new Xcode project, iOS single view app, and say next. And I'm going to call this StarTrivia and next, and put this right here on the desktop and say create. Very good. Okay, so in this project, we are just going to do a little bit of setup. We are going to add our assets that we need. So go ahead and download the space images folder from this lesson. And you should get a folder that looks something like this with these 5 images, space 1, 2, 3, 4, and home world, okay? So go ahead and drag those right here into your assets folder. And here we have our very pretty space pictures. And these are all from unsplash.com. Go ahead and check out their website. They have really nice royalty-free commercial use images that you can use in your apps. And then the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to go to our storyboard, and we're going to embed our view controller in a navigation controller. So right down here under the embed in, click and say navigation controller, and that will get us a navigation controller here. Just going to bring that down here. And then let's go ahead and add our background image for our view controller here. And first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to change the name of our default view controller here. So I'm going to double click and then right click and say refactor, rename. And then we're going to go ahead and name this called selector or select person VC. Okay, so this is the view controller that is going to make that first API call to the Star Wars API and return us a Star Wars character. Okay, so I'm going to say select person VC, and that should rename our file as well as change the class for this view controller, which it did. Perfect. All right, so that's looking good. So now let's go ahead and add in our image view. Okay, so I'm going to open up our object library and search for image view. I'm going to drag this in here, okay? So if we take a look at the finished app, you can see here that on the iPhone 10, the image goes all the way from corner to corner, okay? When we set up our image views constraints, we have to be careful, okay? So I'm going to show you what this looks like. If we were just to say 0, 0, 0, 0, like you might think that you could do, and uncheck constraint to margins, if you add those 4 constraints, looks fine here on our iPhone 8. But if we go to the iPhone 10, you'll see here that we have this white space up here and down here. And that's because this is being constrained. If we look at its constraints, it's being constrained to the safe area. And if we click on safe area here, we can see what that is. And we've gone over the safe area before, but just to refresh, what we need to do is we need to constrain our image view not to the safe area, because we don't really have anything in this image that we need to be careful about. We want it to just fill up the entire view for our iPhone, regardless if it's an iPhone 10 or otherwise. So what we need to do, I'm going to get our image view here again, and I'm going to remove the bottom and top constraints here. So we are just currently aligned to the leading and trailing edge, and that's fine if these are constrained to the safe area. What we need to do is have the top and bottom constrained to the super view, not the safe view. So I'm going to again click on our add constraints. And what you do is make sure that constraint to margins is unchecked, and then select in our drop-down menu here, view, not safe area, but view. Current distance will be equal to something like 88. And then change that to 0. And the same thing for the bottom. Click, change it to view, and then change that to 0, and then add those 2 constraints. And now you'll see that the image view is filling up the entirety of our iPhone 10. Very good. Now let's go ahead and select our image view and let's give it an image. So right here under image in our attributes, I'm going to select it and choose space 1. And that looks pretty sweet. I'm going to select it again and change the content mode to aspect fill. There we go. All right, and that looks pretty great. And that's where we're going to stop off in this lesson. Just a quick lesson to get a few elements set up. In the next lesson, we're going to learn how to add a custom font to our app. All right, so I'll see you then.